In this tank we have Otopharynx species auromarginatus from Maingano. I've dove there quite a few times. I've seen this fish there once or twice. Seems that they're seasonal and they're not always there when you want to collect them, I guess. I got these sent in, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago. This is my first generation group. I kept the whole spawn because I wanted to make sure I get enough females to keep them going. You can't find this fish very often, certainly not in Canada. I just had the first spawn here the other day. She's still holding. So she's been holding about 3 or 4 days now. They're nice fish. They're blue over yellow, and they got the large spot on the side. It's pretty hard not to tell what they are when you see them in the wild. And when I seen them there was literally hundreds. But you go back the next year, they're gone, and you go back the next year, and you see the odd one or two. So it's just a matter of timing when you get to the island to see if they're in breeding. Most of the females that hadn't bred were really large bellies on them, and of course the ones that had been bred are a little bit slimmer and huge mouthfuls in the wild. These guys right now, they're probably about 5 inches or so. I think they're probably around 15, 16 months old. Not all the males are colored up just yet, but I've got 2 that are fairly colored up, and of course as soon as they started to color up, then they started breeding, so they haven't been colored up that long, and they'll probably get a little more intense. It's kind of hard to catch them on this video because of the odd angle that we have to work our way into in one of the bottom 75-gallon tanks. I did sell a few extra males and pairs when they first came in, but I've not heard back from anybody that they had spawned them. So there's a few out there, but no records of spawnings that I've ever heard of yet.
Now, with this fish occasionally being observed off Maingano Island, and with the overfishing that's going on Maingano Island, is this kind of in a way kind of help protecting the species from that?
Well, I mean, they're only in there probably for, a few weeks of the year. And as I said, with the amount of times that I've dove there, I probably just first observed them about 4 or 5 years ago. And then they come on the list from Stuart Grant, so I ordered some in because I thought they were a beautiful fish. Unfortunately, I had them in with enough other fish that they didn't spawn. But after I sold a few of the other fish in the tank and things started to thin out, that's when they started breeding. I had a few mouthfuls, but there was only one successful one. So probably just, when the fishermen are there, they get told what to collect. If they don't know these fish are there, they're not collecting them very often. I know Stuart had collected them there on a few times and had made some statements on his website back when he was doing it about this fish, but I don't think it's been exported that much, and I don't see any of the guys from Tanzania in there collecting it for export. So I think this one's fairly rare in the lake and in the hobby as well. The auromarginatus is at other different locations around the lake, but it's a different fish.
Less blue, less gold.
Yeah, the ones that I had photographed in the lake were probably around 6 inches, and they're quite stunning. These guys aren't quite there yet, but they're colored up and mature enough to start breeding anyways.
More of a gold variant than other types then.
Well, some of the auromarginatus that you find around the lake are yellow or yellowish. A little bit different. These ones are side named Margrette. So In Ag Coding's books, they're listed as Catachroma species auromarginatus margrette from Maingano.
Go ahead.
Okay, yeah, I think at one point in time these were called Otopharynx species big blotch.
So the bigger blotch is what the clear differences of this location on this particular type of species at that location.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And it makes them easy to spot in the wild, fish with big blotches like this.
It's definitely more rare. I know when I was at the lake, it's not very often you see fish with bigger blotches, especially at this size.
Yeah, yeah.
Makes that gold and that blue really pop.
Yeah, as they get a little bit larger, they get a little more greeny appearance. It goes from the nice metallic blue to a little bit more metallic green in the face.
Just the one thing we should add is how big does this size get in the wild?
Well, the ones that I observed there, probably around 6 inches, maybe a little bit bigger. I didn't find that the males were too robust in that they had round bellies. They seemed to be fairly flat along the bottom. However, the females were absolutely huge. If you didn't know any better, they looked like they had bloat. Some of them were so big, so I don't know what they were feeding on to get that large. And the mouthfuls in the wild were just absolutely huge, bulging females. Like probably about 40, 50 in a group, traveling in a group. So that was kind of interesting as well, with the males, on the outskirts, kind of trying to bring the females into where they want to spawn. And then the large group of females traveling through the gut of that spot at Maingano where we dive.
Very nice.
Yeah, they're very nice. I'm happy with them. I was impressed enough to keep the whole group and grow them out now for this is 16 months or so. So I'm happy.
Well, lots of females, so we can pass it around.
Well, we're still at that point now where some of the males haven't really colored up. But yeah, the first couple of boys there seem to be doing fine. I haven't seen them create any havoc in the tank. I don't see no split fins and any marks on them, so they haven't been fighting. I don't know if they will or not, but we'll see what happens.
Like I said, depends how many males mature, but I'm not seeing too many with colored elephants. But yeah, it looks like there's going to be at least two or three more.
Yeah, usually when you're keeping and breeding fish over here, they always seem to go about 60% males and 40% females. Even in the wild, they seem to breed male heavy because the males are colored up. They're the ones that get picked off by predators, I'm sure.
Yeah, exactly.
But we'll see how many males and how many females I got. If I get enough for my group, then I'd be willing to sell excess males or pairs or small groups or whatever. But I'm trying to get mine out of the group first.
Yeah, that'll be a while, guys.
Yeah.
Got to get this colony up and breeding, especially being a rare fish.
Yeah.